always do this whole thing again and again.
There we
Hi,
go. Right
everyone.
Welcome, everybody. So glad you're here. Right on. Well, we're live on all platforms, Suzanne, so let's get right to it.
Yes.
We're coming from different parts of the world right now. I am at least. So hence the different background, but I'm so glad to be here. This is week 6 of our TLS Team Tone Up Challenge.
Oh, already.
And we have a few disclaimers, as we always talk about health and wellness and nutrition and products and all these kinds of things. That these are our disclaimers here. We read them every time. Here they are. So thank you for reading them. We're so proud of our teams that have joined us for this TLS Team Tone Up Challenge, and we have a lot of them. It's so exciting. And every week we have teams reporting in, right, Suzanne?
Yes. Oh, wow. Look at those results. Look at the inches lost. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Okay. So we have like 6 teams are still doing very well. A team last lap will have the TLS healthier goal. But look at this, like moving, like we're literally on 6 weeks and 1566 is almost 1,600 a pound loss. And wow, I have to say that the inches lost is eventually may outdo the pounds lost, which means that you are losing fat, and that's exactly what we want for you, right? Almost 1,300 inches lost. That is incredible. Congratulations, everyone. Way to go. Keep it up.
That's right. So these were our reporting teams this week. I know we had a lot of people who were joining us at World Conference in Fort Lauderdale. So if you didn't report in, just report in now. We still want to see what the results were. We still want to tabulate totals. But as you know, on Sundays, those are the days to report in, to be recognized on our Monday Zooms. So just a huge shout out, because people are, they're losing pounds. But as you mentioned, Suzanne, we're seeing those inches really creep up. And when we're losing those inches, we know that we're losing the right kind of weight. Yes. So stay committed. We're about to, this is the beginning. This Monday is the beginning of week 6. Yes. And so it's really important to stay committed. This is around the time, right, Suzanne, that people start to kind of slip into old habits. Yeah, they got some results. They're pretty excited. So they think they can like get away with a couple cheap things here and there, right? And so it slows down results. So we just want to, encourage you to recommit. We also want to welcome all of the new participants we have joining us. And I also wanted to do a special shout out, Suzanne. So this weekend, while we were in Fort Lauderdale, I had a chance to meet a lot of people, and a lot of people who had TLS success stories. And I just want to do a shout out because, I just met them a couple days ago. We had Karen from Delaware, and Karen lost 40 pounds with TLS. So she was pretty excited. In fact, she actually got interviewed. Yes. Because of her success story. So it was really, really exciting. So way to go, Karen. We're really, really excited for you and your progress. She's doing fantastic. She'd actually started her journey because her doctor had said, hey, look, things aren't going so well. And now her doctor's just super happy with her blood panels, and one of those, keep doing whatever it is you're doing, right? I also met Heather. Heather is a young nurse from Philadelphia area. And she was so excited because she's lost 40 pounds. Another 40 pounds. So exciting. I love it. And then I met Rhea. And Rhea is from Michigan, but she likes to winter in Fort Myers, which is not too far from where I live. So she's snowbirding. So she's probably still in Fort Myers. And we just want to give a shout out to Rhea. Listen to this, you guys. I believe Rhea's retired at this point, and she lost 60 pounds with TLS. So we're so excited. And then last but not least, we have Jean. We met Jean. Many of you might remember Jean. She was actually on the big screen. She got picked out of the audience from by Andrew Weissman. And so I had a chance to talk with her after that happened. She's lost 33 pounds with TLS. She started with us in the 7-8-28 challenge we did. Just this,
okay.
just this little while ago, we did, I think it was a 6 or 8 week, but so she's excited about her progress and continuing her journey with TLS. She is stoked and she's looking to become a coach, as is Karen. So very exciting stuff.
You know, one thing that I noticed is always in common is that these people are having such great success with TLS, decide to pay it forward. And that is so exciting because they see result and they want to help more people see result and they become certified coaches. And this is the type of story that gets us motivated in doing what we do, isn't it, Melanie?
That's right. And I think the key here with all of these ladies' stories was to, that they stuck with it. Even when it kind of got discouraging or things slowed down or whatever the case might be, that they just stuck with it. And that's really the message we're coming at you with today is, stay the course, right? Stay focused, stay the course.
Exactly.
So team leads, you can submit your results by Sunday each week. So just have your participants report to you and submit the results. And even if you're late, still report in. We love finding out what's going on and how you guys are doing. So as you guys know, we're going through our 12-week health guide and journal, right, Suzanne?
Yes. I know, can believe it. Like, so if you didn't have a chance, we always encourage you to really maximize these Zoom, like I guess these Monday Zoom is really take some time to really read it first, because I always find that once you read it first, you might not understand everything, but when you get to come and join us on Monday, it helps you to solidify those information you learn. It helps you internalize it. And this is exactly what we want. So maybe Sunday night, enjoy a cup of trim tea and maybe flip through the pages, read it. Then on Monday, join us here to internalize those information. She's having a trim tea right now, which is exactly what we want. So make sure if you didn't like going forward, right? It's never too late to start. So going forward, just come and read a few pages because these pages are not long. They only have a few pages anyways, right? It's not meant to be those long reading chapters, and come and join us on Monday and really, because we, like I said, one of the pillars that we love was the education. This is the education part. And this is something that I love to talk about all the time as well. So, that and what Melanie was saying, I really want to talk about, week 6 is really drill into the nutrition, right? I think we talk about it every time when we do any sort of presentation. And what makes TLS very unique is that while you're getting healthier, you're losing fat. Okay, how many programs that say that while you are losing fat, you get healthier? Not many programs out there, right? Because a lot of people lose fat or lose weight and they're actually not getting healthier because people are like, hey, you lose weight, is everything okay? When people say that, it's not okay, right? You want to say, hey, you look amazing. What are you doing? And this is exactly what TL is about. And today is something that I love talking about, which is nutrition, right? Nutrition 101, which is protein, fats, and carbs. So when we talk about nutrition, Melanie, why don't we start off with that and then I'll go in detail.
We're actually going to start off, before we get to the macros, we're going to get to the micros. All right. So
very important.
Your body needs both in order to truly be healthy and vital lifelong. It needs both macronutrients and micronutrients to function properly. Now, micronutrients are your vitamins, which are responsible for energy production, immune function, blood clotting, and so much more. So pretty important stuff. Minerals is all about bone growth, fluid balance, and so many other processes. And in many cases, many vitamins can't be absorbed in the body unless there's a presence of minerals there as well. So they have a very, very important process in regards to being cofactors to absorption. So we also want to make sure that we're good in our minerals. Depletion of these can be a factor to weight loss struggles. And that's why we're so passionate about one of our incredible products. And Suzanne and I are going to get into these macronutrients in detail here, but kind of keeping on the micronutrients. This is a kit that we have in almost all of our international markets, as well as in US and Canada. And this includes 4 doses of our isotonic vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, which is incredible. The multivitamin provides over 100% of the recommended daily value of essential vitamins and minerals to complement your diet, to fill in those gaps. OPC3. Now, if anybody's been around TLS a long time, they know that this is like a staple in everybody's household. OPC3 is a very powerful antioxidant. It's actually a combination of 3 really powerful antioxidants, and they're from nature, and they help promote our cardiovascular health, maintain healthy cholesterol, blood glucose levels, and really help that natural inflammatory response. So we're really creating just a balance in the body, and really helping to clean out the things we don't want in the body, which is something that antioxidants are very known for doing, including like getting rid of those free radicals, right? Now, the reason that activated B complex is so important is because it increases our energy. It also is huge for energy production in regards to breaking down carbohydrates and fats so the body can use it as energy. Also really important when it comes to weight loss. So we are helping to promote a healthy nervous system, our happy drug that's natural in our body called serotonin. And so it can help really with that stress and improving mood. And then calcium, not just for skeletal health, not just for bones, right, Suzanne? It's really important for our muscle contraction. So magnesium relaxes muscles, calcium contracts them. So which is the most important muscle in our body? Guess what? It's our heart. Right? So we need calcium for our cardiovascular health. We need calcium for all kinds of things. And we have an incredible calcium complex that's in this daily essentials. And what makes this special is that when you take it properly, first thing in the morning, right, Suzanne, on an empty stomach, mix it with the appropriate amount of water. When you drink it first thing, and you wait the appropriate time, what happens is it delivers very quickly into the small intestine. And you're able to absorb so much of it. In fact, it's actually detectable in the blood within 5 to 15 minutes of taking it. So it's really, really powerful. Bypasses that typical digestion in the stomach. So 95% of it's delivered into that small intestine, ready for absorption directly into the bloodstream. This is the best delivery system out there aside from IV therapy. So if you're not currently, maybe you're on the multivitamin or maybe you're on the OPC3, I would really highly encourage people to invest in the daily essentials, because it is such a great combination of everything your body needs, right? Dr. D always says, if your body doesn't make it, you need to
take it.
Take it, exactly. All right, so that's the micronutrients. We know we need those, and we know we're not getting them from our diet. So not enough of them anyway, right?
Yes. And we're not getting enough from the diets because a lot of the fruits and vegetables, the produce that we're getting, the quality of food has depleted so much over the years. So you need to eat almost double, triple the amount in order to get the same amount of nutrient that my grandmother used to eat, our grandmother used to eat. And this is why so many people are feeling tired all the time. And, in TLS, we really encourage you to keep yourself moving. But how do you keep yourself moving when you're exhausted? And the reason you're exhausted, yes, it could be lack of sleep, but it could be because you are nutrient deficient. So replenishing those nutrients are so vital to help your body say, it's almost like I always say, think about a car. You need to fill up gas for the car to run. And you can have a beautiful car. And if you put in the wrong fuel, the car is not going to be efficient. And today we're talking about fuel in different ways. These micronutrients up level that fuel. And I'm going to talk about the macronutrients to give you that basic fuel, which start with protein. So proteins are very important. Many people know protein. When they hear protein, they think muscle, but protein does more than helping to building muscle. It is actually important for metabolism. So what every single cell in the body requires protein. And did you know that after your workout, you know that you require protein, but then, you know, after injuries and illness, you definitely need even more protein. I remember when I did my internship at hospital, a person who is in hospital needs more protein than the average person because they're ill and they need that more protein. So it's very, very important. But then, you know, protein is also what keeps you full longer. So if you notice that you're eating and you say, hey, I'm getting very hungry very quickly, chances are you're not getting enough protein in the previous meal. And that's why you're getting hungry and you're looking for that carbohydrates right there. And protein, when broken down, it becomes this very small. I was like my daughter plays Lego, these little pieces, and they are called the amino acid. And protein are labeled according to the amino acid that they provide. And there's two types of protein. There's complete protein and incomplete protein. But I want to say, just because it's an incomplete does not make them a inferior protein. It's just that it's missing some, because in terms of the amino acid, there's like 9 essential amino acids. So if any of the protein missing 1 or 2 of the amino acid, this is called incomplete protein. Well, a simple answer is to make like 2 incomplete protein together, it becomes a complete protein. So the key, I really want to say, eat variety of food. Don't be nicky picky and only eat your chicken or only eat one thing. Eat variety, and your chances of you getting all those essential amino acid, or what we call required amino acid, is so easily done by being variety, eating a balanced diet. So complete protein found in your meat, your poultry, your fish, non-GMO soy. We need to emphasize that because we eat a lot of soy, but they're not necessarily non-GMO organic soy, and quinoa, which is, again, both soy and quinoas or plant-based. Incomplete protein, you notice, is more plant-based, right? Which like nuts and seed, beans and grains and vegetable. And what I said before, you just have to combine them and they make them a complete protein. As simple as that.
Absolutely. I think I was actually, many people may or may not know this, but I was actually a whole food vegan for 6 years.
Wow.
And so food combination becomes very, very important if you are choosing a plant-based diet. Because of that incomplete protein, you know, mixing, that's why rice and beans is like, you know, they say that's the poor man's meal, but guess what? You know, when you mix a grain, a whole grain, not white rice, okay? So we're talking, you know, when you're mixing, you know, a really good quality brown rice or a wild rice or a basmati or a like an amaranth or a millet or, you know, some of those ancient grains that are on our menu plans, if you combine that with a nut, a seed, a bean, you're going to create a complete protein. So it becomes really, really important to be doing those food combinations to make sure that you're getting those amino acids your body needs to repair its tissues, its cells, and do the work it needs to do.
Yes. And people is always wondering, how many grams of protein do I need in a day? And we provide 2 types of calculation. But before I talk about the 2 types of calculation, one thing is, let's talk about the bottom first, the 25, because that is what's listed on our menu plan. So the target is about, when you're doing a snack, it's about 10 to 25 grams. And when you do meals, it's about 25 to 50 grams. And you can see for men, it's about 6 to 8 ounces. And for female, it's 4 to 6 ounces. And I seen have people say, I'm a small person, I really don't need that much. Again, you listen to your body. This is only served as a guideline. Then we have these like 6 feet tall men and say, you give me that little bit, I'm gonna be hungry. So that's why we want to let you know, these are only guidelines. Like if you were to look at a lot of government guidelines, they give you a range. It's not perfect. It's not customized to individual because they can only give you a general guideline. And this is exactly what we heard. We give you a general guideline, but if you notice that you cannot do 6 ounces, go back to 4 ounces. If you're a woman, and watch, and sir, listen to how you feel. I know myself, I cannot do 6 ounces. I get very full. So I go with 4 most of the time. And there are times maybe I need a little bit more protein. So again, go back to listen to your body. And if you're the type of person that I need to know exactly how much protein I need, Then we have a calculation for you, which you can see above right there. So again, personalize your intake. So you find your weight, which is in pound, divide by 2.2 to make, so it becomes a kilogram. And so for example, 110 pound, if you divide by 2.2 to make it so that you can calculate the unit in kilogram, which is 50 kilogram. So a minimal requirement for everyone, the minimal is 0.8 times, like for example, is 0.8 times 50 kilogram would be an example. However, if your goal is for weight loss, is your weight in kilogram times it by 1.2. But if your goal is to gain muscle, okay, and you're very active and you're a big guy, right? Because we have to look at gender, we look at your activity level, we need to look at your goal. In that case, it would be times it by 2. And that's why we give you that range, because we don't know if your goal was, because we have people who are doing TL's program because they want to gain healthy weight, they want to gain muscle. We have people who want to lose weight, and therefore we're giving you, but the minimal is 0.8 gram per kilogram of your body weight.
Yeah, and that will give you the amount of grams per day of protein that you want to intake. And so for instance, and that's a really easy thing to track, because the average egg, for instance, right? So Zan has about 7 grams of protein. So if you're having 2 to 3 eggs in the morning, you've got your 7 grams. If you're having a full chicken breast, I mean, that can be upwards of 34 to 40 grams of protein, depending on the size of the breast. And you can always ask Google if you're wondering how many grams of protein is any kind of particular food, because once you calculate, so your weight in kilograms times, depending on your goal, right? Maintenance 0.8, weight loss goal 1.2, athletes times 2. Once you get those grams per day for you, it's good to kind of take a look at a typical day of eating of yours and just grab those basic macros that you're eating. I mean, yes, is there some amino acids in some of the vegetables you're eating and all of that, but don't worry about that. Just be really calculating those major macros and see if you're at where you need to be at. And this is a really good way to just personalize your own program to reach your goals faster.
Exactly. And just again, go back, once you do the calculation, you might change, right? Maybe you want to start with weight loss, and now eventually you want to focus on, you want to gain muscle. So again, just give it the flexibility, not to be so rigid, but knowing that we're providing you different ways to arriving at the amount that is right for you based on your current goals, basically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of the things we did put together last year was our Vegan and Vegetarian 101 handout. So if you are looking to maybe go more plant-based and you're kind of don't know where to start, or you already are, this is an incredible handout that was worked on by a team of us and registered dietitians and people who, these registered dietitians who are vegan, right? I mean, I think that's really crucial.
Very important.
Yes, very important. And so it's a beautiful document. You guys definitely download it on tlsslim.com, and it's an incredible resource for you if that's what you're looking to do.
Okay, let's talk about fats, because fat has a very interesting perspective. I think for the longest time, people are so afraid of fats. Like, fat is bad. I go non-fat, and I go low fat, and now it's like faux fat. So let's talk about some very key things that hasn't changed. Whether you were thinking non-fat in the past, is that fat is actually important, but the type of fat really do matters here, right? So fats help you absorb fat soluble vitamin. Did you know that when you don't get fat in your diet, you cannot absorb your fat soluble vitamin? They are actually found in a lot of vegetables that we're eating, right? And includes vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. And food actually, the fats from the food actually give you the essential fatty acid that supports your brain, which is so important, right? This brain right here, the joint and heart function, and so much more. And I'm a big fan of making sure you get enough fat, because it not only is to give you satiated, but it actually blunt the glycemic impact of your meal. So you be eating, feeling full, satisfied, but your blood sugar is not on that roller coaster, which is so important, because in Cleo, we're all talking about the glycemic impact. We want to have minimal, right? We want the even Steven that I always say all the time. And fat, as well as quality protein, do play a very important role. So when I talk about fat, there's actually 3 types of fats, right? I usually say the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with the bad first. In this case, it's saturated fat, and they're often animal fats. And why they're kind of ugly is because it does increase LDL, which is our bad cholesterol. Then the good, which is unsaturated fat, and we're talking about high quality unsaturated fat, which is like olive oil, nuts, and avocado. I'm not talking about those canola oil, those soybean or the vegetable highly processed oil. I'm talking about high quality oil. So the key in this, when we talk about fat, is quality matters, right? So unsaturated fats are great because it helps you to lower your bad cholesterol and increase your good cholesterol. And trans fat, okay, the ugly, right? Ugly is because not only increases your bad cholesterol, it actually reduces your good cholesterol. And this is a type of fat that most people eat but don't realize it. Your baked goods, your crackers, and your snacks, basically.
Yeah, anything, that lasts on the countertop a long time, it's going to have trans fats in it because, essentially they've taken a good, oil, which, your olive oil can go bad, right? Have you ever had that happen where you open it and it just doesn't smell very good? It's gone rancid, right? There's a reason for that because it's a real food, and real food goes bad. So when you have something that can last in the cupboard for a really, really, really long time, or last on your counter for a really long time, guess what? There's going to be trans fat. They've taken that oil and they've removed a hydrogen to stabilize it. And so the longer the shelf life of any given food.
Okay, Melanie's maybe a bit frozen, but it's okay. Well, let's continue on by saying that, yep, the longer the food that actually in the shelf life, we often say the longer the shelf life, the shorter your life. So if you want to have like long life, you want to eat wholesome, unprocessed food. And unfortunately, a lot of us who falls in the trap of eating processed food eat way too much of what we call the baked goods, the crackers and snack, and people don't realize it is not your meal. It's really the snack that really creates a lot of the issues right here. And for that, because Melanie is clicking on that, okay, Melanie,
All right.
you're back. Well, this is part of how Zoom is. Makes it so efficient so that we can teach around the world, but we have to depend on this Mr. Internet. And that's right, Audney. Always shop in the outer aisles, right? The parameter, right? If you ever see yourself in between, you know you're in the wrong spot, right? Because everything in between is all processed food.
All right. I'm not sure. Can you hear me okay, Suzanne?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I don't know where you lost me. I was yakking away.
I was just finishing, you're talking about the long shelf life and talk about packaged food. So let's move on to the next slide then.
Awesome. All right.
Okay, carbohydrate. This is the one that creates confusion. It's a love-hate relationship, right? Isn't it? And it is, a lot of people said, don't we need carbohydrate? And the truth is we do. It's a body's main source of energy. It is found in almost every food. Just because you're not eating your bread and your potato and your rice does not mean you don't get carbohydrate, because they do exist in almost every food. So carbohydrate, we often say, let's put them in kind of two categories. One is complex, and these are more slow absorption. They provide sustained energy. They tend to be higher fiber. So complex, and think of fiber. Simple, think about refined. Like make it simple that way, right? So high fiber food like fruits, vegetable, beans, and simple carbohydrate tend to spike your blood sugar because they're refined, and they often lead to food craving and fat storage. This is what most people fall in that trap. I don't think many people will ever have a weight issues or health issue if they eating a lot of vegetable, beans, or fruit. It's never those were never the problem. Most of people fall in the trap of the sugar, the refined grains, the bread, pasta, potato, alcohol, right? So if we can minimize that, that's what we're looking for. So we do need carbohydrate, but the right kind of carbohydrates.
Absolutely, which is why we are not a no carb diet. We are a slow carb diet. And you know, Suzanne, I always say this, totally my pet peeve when people say I'm on a no carb diet. And I'm like, what? Then you're not eating any food, because every single food contains carbohydrates, and you're probably eating some vegetables. So you're definitely eating carbohydrates. So, you know, be educated is obviously the key here. And when you're thinking simple carbohydrates, you're thinking flour products, right? And you're thinking cereals, your sugar products, your baked goods, you know, the chips, the cookies, the crackers, the breads, the pastas. These are simple carbohydrates that when we ingest them, you know, put us into, you know, that high glycemic category and cause us to store fat, which is not where we want to be. So we really want to focus on those complex carbohydrates, which you're going to find on your TLS menu plans. I can't stress this enough to always go back to your menu plan, go review it again, go take a look at it, highlight some foods, take a look. What are my healthy fats? What are my vegetables? What are my fruits? What are these foods? Because those are going to be the approved carbohydrates, the approved healthy fats that will get you to your goals faster.
Yes. And so people say, okay, that sounds great. So are breads and grain bad? No, not exactly, but the type is important. And this is why I think it was in week 2 where we teach you food label reading. That was a great segment for you to really need to read. Like, if you want to know if you're choosing the right bread or the grains, read your food label, right? So that week 2, if you want to go back, that would be a great week for you to review. So whole grains are the seeds of food plant. They're a good source of energy, and they are hot. They do have fiber. Question is, can I live without grain? For a lot of people who live with grain, they cannot imagine life without grains, okay? But from a health perspective, yes, you can live without grain, but you do need carbohydrate, and you do get that because when you look at a menu plan, we give you fruits and vegetables. That gets you the carbohydrate the body needs. Body never said that they want rice. They never said that they need bread. No, I should say that the body doesn't say that they need rice or bread. You want rice and bread. It's the want versus the need, which is very different. And many grains includes like a lot of genetic modified. And we have, I think every wheat that we know possible are all genetic modified, which is very unfortunate, but that's the truth, right? And many people are gluten sensitive and would benefit from avoiding gluten and gluten-free, but the whole gluten-free got into this market and becomes the organic. Once you see that word, you think it's healthy, like we see gluten-free is healthy, and they're not necessarily healthy because, again, go back to reading your ingredient list and looking your food label, because a lot of gluten-free products tend to be much higher GI. That means it will actually raise your blood sugar because a lot of them may be made with corn, made with rice, and guess what? Your blood sugar will go that roller coaster ride again.
So a carbohydrate is judged by its fiber content. The higher the fiber content, the lower the glycemic index, which means it's going to be a TLS friendly food. Fiber helps blunt the impact of a meal. It also helps you feel full. It creates bulk, which means it's going to go in and scrub away at you know, the intestine wall and aids in removing stool and toxins through the digestive tract. In fact, you know, there's 2 types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. So the insoluble is really what goes in like a scrub brush, and the soluble is what grabs the toxins and takes them out with it. It's grabbing fat and toxins and shuttles it out of the body. So fiber is really a superhero as far as when it comes to our foods. And our TLS menu plans have all high, well, all medium to high fiber foods in them for sure. Because what we've found is when people have a lower fiber diet, it can really cause some digestive distress. So we really want to aim for about 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. So we have, again, I'm coming back to these menu plans because it's so important to review, right? Maybe some of you reviewed them week 1 and you haven't looked at them since, and you've fallen into maybe some habits that, you know, you got to go back to the approved food list, because we know that if you're following that, you're going to be choosing the right carbohydrates, the right proteins, the right healthy fats to get the nutrition your body needs to really reach its goals. And so on this menu plan,
Yes.
you're seeing how many servings per day you get under each category. Also really important information. And then the serving sizes is usually right underneath that, but sometimes there's even specific serving sizes for specific foods, right? So for instance, if you look at the starch on, this is a Sure and Steady meal plan. Some of you may or may not be on it, but if you look down at that starch, it says acorn squash, which is half a cup serving. But butternut squash is 1 cup serving. So we really want you guys paying attention, right? So you started off, 6 weeks ago or a few weeks ago, but it might be a good idea to go back and take a closer look at it and see how you're doing, right, Suzanne?
Yes. And a lot of people was when you are eating the food, like sometimes people say, oh, I really know my list, but going through this list is so important because you might make a lot of assumptions based on the old thinking. And this is why it is so important that we often say, highlight the food that you will be, that you'll be shopping, so that this help you stay on track. And the highlight will help you say, okay, look at that. Like Melanie said, the acorn squash is half a cup, but the butternut squash is 1 cup. Same as whole grain. If you look at the whole grain, we said 1 serving per day, and 1 serving is equal half a cup. So as you go down, you can see type of serving right there. And we specifically say what kind of it. We are very into ancient grain because we want it to be as whole food as possible, at least modified as possible. And as you know, right now, there's a lot of new pasta. There's a lot of, it's no longer just the regular like wheat pasta, right? There's more than just a brown rice pasta. There's like quinoa pasta, kamut pasta. There's like edamame, black bean pasta. There's so many different pasta, which give us a lot more choices. And make mung bean, right? We have the arrowroot noodle. So that it's great because means that we still have a lot of good choices when it comes. If you were in the Sure and Steady program, it's like when you choose whole grain, choose wisely, choose good quality, but at the same time choose within that serving. When we said half a cup, stick with half a cup, because if you start to say, hey, today I go 1 cup, and before you know it, you go to like a cup and a half, it is very easily, and that will kind of deter you from the goal that you're trying to reach.
For sure. And keep in mind that when you're cooking things like quinoa, millet, kamut, farro, buckwheat, barley, amaranth, these ancient grains, spelt is another one, or authentic basmati or brown rice or wild rice, that half a cup is cooked.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point, because a lot of people think that's a very good point. Yes. When we said half a cup is cooked, because half a cup raw makes a lot. Okay. So
it does make
that.
a lot. Yeah, for sure. So just be keeping in mind, I mean, as far as vegetables, obviously sometimes like, spinach, right? Spinach raw is quite large, right? So you could have a couple handfuls and it could be squished into a cup. And if it were sauteed or slightly steamed, then it's like, down to nothing. And so, for a lot of the greens, we're more talking our serving sizes are raw when it comes to that. I know that question actually came up while we were in Fort Lauderdale. So I thought I would address it here. Perfect. All right.
Okay, so when I talk about, we want to kind of finish up to really talk about some tips to ensure that you have a nutrient-rich diet. And for Melanie and I, we always say vegetable, your best friend, right? Try a new one each week to find your new favorite. A lot of things, actually, a lot of the time we will often hear from people doing the TLS program, they were actually telling us how much they fall in love with vegetable because they never thought vegetable can taste so great. And if your vegetable is like I don't know, the canned peas or the canned carrots or whatever, no, that's not what we're talking about. Once you taste fresh, non-frozen, fresh vegetable, you will fall in love, right? It's just a matter of finding your new favorite. And this is why learn to like be friends with them. And before you know it, you actually develop a very good relationship with them.
Absolutely. I think this is also really key to ensuring you don't get bored with what you're doing. Okay. So, this looking forward to this next 6 weeks, You want it to be the best 6 weeks. And so commit to trying a new recipe each week so you don't get bored.
Yeah. And if you were to start adding grains or starch, because you might be in the still in 30 days, or you're doing a fat shredder, and you said, I'm moving to rapid result or to the sure and steady, which, like the rapid result is adding the starch, the sure and steady was adding the grain and the starch. The most important thing is when you add them, pay attention to portion, but at the same time, it's listen to your body, right? Because when you did the 30 days, you haven't had grain and starches for so long. So it's like at least a 4 weeks of no grain, no starch. It's such a great way when you introduce that, you will know how you feel. And people say, shouldn't I feel the same? You'd be surprised how different you feel, because if you've been eating grain and starches for a long time, you might be bloated all this time thinking it's normal. But once, because you did the 30 days and just, hey, you know what, my stomach is a flat. But once you start eating that grain and you poop up like a 3 months pregnant, you know what that means. Or when you eat and you feel like, what, I'm so tired today, and I don't sleep any differently, or there's nothing really different except for adding that grain or starch. That is a great way. And this is why the tracking sheets that we want you to do is so important. So when you're kind of commenting how you feel, I would like you to actually highlight the time that you add certain grain and certain starch, so that you really can see, okay, when I add that, I don't know, maybe the commit or farro, although they're excellent choices, but they are something that for some people they don't digest well, and the bodies just don't handle it well. And at least so make sure you listen to your body. Your body knows best.
Yeah, and definitely commit to supplementing to cover those deficiencies in our food. Again,
Yeah.
when we nourish the body, it goes to work, and we're giving it all the tools it needs to build the house we want to live in, the big awesome beautiful home we want to live in. And so nutrients are the tools for our body to balance itself, and balance all of the processes that are going on in the body. And so our job is really simply to fuel our body. And when we do that, we're really creating a healthy environment. And the body, when it's healthy and when it's balanced, in its different, in all the different systems, is it doesn't carry excess weight. So I want to encourage everybody to be really patient and loving and kind with yourself and with your body, because whether there's hormonal imbalances, whether there's a metabolic imbalances, whether there's some other things going on, when you go about doing this the healthy way, you're really creating that strong foundation for your body to go to work and create those solutions and balance things out. And so that's why eating nutritious is so important. It isn't just about that number on the scale. It's about how you're going to feel 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And all of these little choices that we're making, right? So Zan, they accumulate over time. And I think what's really important here is, that you're celebrating your progress.
Yes, totally.
And
yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of thinking, I did 6 weeks, I still have 6 weeks to go. Like that attitude just makes it so much harder. Instead of thinking, I did 6 weeks, wow, look at the amazing progress and the result. Can you imagine what another 6 week will be like if I stay on track? Like that mindset is so important. And this is why we want to be here every Monday to help support you. And it does get, like, the consistency is always something that people talk about, right? And it can be challenging, but knowing that in TLS, like having those balance of nutrient and eating those food, it will naturally fall in place. It's almost like my daughter playing Lego. It will fall in place, and before you know, you're stacking and making this masterpiece, right? But it takes that patience to really put it all together.
Absolutely. So one of the things I just want to end with is just progress. So what does progress look like? Progress looks like you're feeling better, you have more energy, You aren't needing that 3 p.m. nap. You maybe are feeling like you're sleeping better. You have the ability to, walk the stairs at work now without getting, huffy puffy. You're doing maybe more push-ups, or sit-ups than you have, or you're actually lifting more weights at the gym, right? This is all awesome progress, right? The other thing that I think a lot of people, at least, this is something I've pointed out in my team for sure on our coaching calls, is things like looking at the menu before going to the restaurant. That's progress. If you've never done that before, that's progress.
Yes.
Right. If you never ate vegetables ever in the morning, and now you're eating vegetables in the morning, that's progress.
Yes.
Like, that's progress to celebrate, right? If you're, actually meal planning, right? Guess what? That's progress. And maybe you'd never meal planned before. So, oh, right on. We've got
5 weeks.
Yeah, 14 pounds in 5 weeks with TLS. Right on. We love it. So, I think it's just really important to understand that all of these healthy habits that you guys are forming in these last 5 weeks are progress that is going to compound upon itself and compound upon itself all those daily, because it's not what we do one day, it's what we do day in, day out, over and over again, that creates the results we want. And so for some of you who have a bit of a larger goal when it comes to weight loss, is remember, it didn't take you 3 months to gain it. It took you years to gain it. And so 6 weeks, right? We're starting 6 weeks. Be patient, be loving, be kind with yourself, and know that these daily habits that you're making are going to make a difference, not just in your waistline, not just on the scale, but truly in your health and your vitality, and adding healthy years to your life, right, Suzanne?
Yes. And just want to, you know what, we all talk about momentum. How do you build momentum? Is keep on going, right? The only way that you stop the momentum is you stop, you give up, right? So if you want to, like, you loving your momentum right now, and you want to continue, all it is just keep going. Okay. Small step, big step, just keep going and don't give up.
That's awesome. So Malika, congratulations on losing 14 pounds in 5 weeks with us here in TLS. I believe you're on Team Healthy Maniacs. So way to go, girl. We're excited for you and your team. That's right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our Mondays. I hope you learned something. I hope it helps you make more progress this week.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll see you next Monday. Send in your reports. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Good night.